Hey everybody, it's Cyborg and I am joined by Temp, and we are doing Injustice Year 4's annual today. So if you have not checked out the previous comics, please do so. Um, Thanks for watching this one, guys, and thanks for tuning in this entire series as we cover all of the Injustice comics, the main series, Year 1 through Year 5. And we will be doing the Injustice 2's comics as well once those start releasing. So, with that said, thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe, like the video if you feel like it. You know, if you're enjoying what we're doing, we appreciate that type of stuff, and you continually tuning in. All that said, let's jump to the actual issue at hand. So, sir, this is a pretty long issue, so I mean, we can't really go frame by frame here or anything crazy like that, but so we start off with a monologue of somebody that's hiding, and a Superman statue gets taken down in public, and the monologue continues about how this person is a criminal, they're used to hiding, and as soon as the statue gets taken down, it's pointed out that, oh, these guys are just terrorists. They are criminals. So Superman immediately shows up on this scene with Flash, and they apprehend. Well, Flash goes around apprehending everyone, but then I guess the footage is reviewed by Cyborg or whoever. Yeah, by Cyborg, and it's pointed out that there's actually 5 terrorists, and they only caught 4. So Flash says that can't be. Superman goes to fly off to go and try and find the last one. So does the Flash. He goes off. And it turns out the park bench that was right next to the 4 starts moving. We see arms and hands start reaching out from this park bench in a very cool fashion. I mean, the art is right off the bat. It was fantastic in this issue. And it's also important to note that this issue is the return of Mr. Taylor, the one that wrote Year 1, 2, and most of Year 3. He came back for just this annual, so
it really shows.
Yes, and we're gonna get into that. And when we reflect on the entire issue and we're done kind of giving a recap, yeah, we will talk about that. But yeah, so the park bench starts moving and it forms a face and everything. And before it can help out the 4 and untie them all, Flash shows back up on the scene and apprehends them. Superman comes and knocks him out as well, but as Superman's about to punch him into oblivion, he says, wait, please don't hurt me, and he shows that he's just a boy. So they take him to the Hall of Justice, and then they're just holding him in a Yellow Lantern bubble, and they say, well, we just have to be consistent. You know, what do we do with him? We can't just let him get away with this. We have to do something with him. He has superpowers. We can't just let him go back on the streets. We got to be consistent about this. And then we are introduced to the trench. The trench is where it is an underwater base down on the deepest depths of the ocean, and it is a prison facility where criminals are being held captive. Criminals as in the eyes of Superman and the regime, of course. So maybe not all criminals, or everyone that is there is your typical criminal. But yeah, so they lock him away here. And then we jump forward a little bit. And we get another monologue from another character that sounds very similar to the first one. And they're saying, you know, I'm many things. I'm a liar. I'm a thief. I'm a father of Luke McDonough. I am Patrick O'Brien. I am Plastic Man. A fun little character for those that follow the DC comics. Plastic Man is kind of a silly dude in his own right. But yeah, so he introduced himself, and he is in the Hall of Justice, and he is starting to interact with the characters. There's so many damn good moments here. I don't even know how to cover all of this.
Every moment's a good moment. Like it's really strong writing.
Okay, so yeah, this is tough because like I want to touch upon all the great parts. I mean, you really need to read this comic if you have not read this comic or this issue. I mean, particular, go out of your way to read this issue. Go buy it. You can get these for like $1 or whatever, $1 or $2. Go find it. Whatever you got to do, read this issue because it is very strong. But there's so many great moments that, like I said, we can't cover them all because we'd be here for 40, 50 minutes because Plastic Man has a lot of great stuff. But just kind of we'll briefly go through and hit some of the high points. He's talking to Superman. he has some sick burns on him about nepotism, and he does his stretchy limbs, and he starts making jokes about Sinestro. He says, "Look at who you're teaming with." He even mocks Sinestro by his mustache and says he doesn't even go out of his way to hide the bad mustache or the bad guy mustache. Cyborg is silent and then looks over at Sinestro, and then Plastic Man morphs into Sinestro with the twirly mustache, and he says, "I bet he even twirls it when you guys aren't looking," and maniacally laughs. And I love that the symbol on Sinestro's chest it's not the Yellow Lantern symbol. It's like his face with a twirly mustache.
I never saw that. That's great. I didn't see that before.
So fantastic stuff there, and Superman does not respond well to him essentially mentioning that he thought that he'd be relating to Plastic Man more because with Superman's child dying, and he was about to say, you locking away my son, I feel like you'd be a little bit more sympathetic and relate. But before he could even get those words out, Superman immediately goes in to obliterate him with a punch and eye laser beam. But Flash stops him, and he says, "You know what? We need to go." So he takes Flash away, or he takes Plastic Man away. As they're walking, Plastic Man's explaining, come on, how can you hang around with Superman? He explains, "Don't you miss him? Don't you miss the smile?" And he turns his head into Superman's classic cheesy smile. And then he kind of walks around talking to Flash, and they turn into an alleyway. And he says, "You know what? I'm sorry about this." And he starts doing... He basically kind of pulls like a Martian Manhunter, and he just completely invades Flash. This is creepy. He's just like going all spaghetti fingers here into Flash's nose, and he's just turning into like strips of himself, completely invading Flash's body. We do learn why he does this. It's not purely to be weird, but he is trying to essentially take over the Flash and also get a sense of how the Flash's body structure is done, his vocal cords, all of that, because it's all precise and he wants to make it look good. So he takes over Flash's appearance and everything, vocal cords and everything. And Cyborg comes and finds the Flash, and he's laying down on the ground, and he's saying, "Plastic Man's going after my son. We need to stop him." And he explains, you know what? He's got superpowers that make it so can easily, infiltrate a place like that. Can we just check the plans to make sure that we cover all of his weak points? Which is a great, reasoning there. So Cyborg goes along with it. Flash then has Cyborg go over all the weakest points in the structure that Plastic Man may be able to sneak in and use his powers to do so. And there's some great moments here where he says, "Oh, and if he wants to take any tools with him, he can get in through the air scrubbers." And then Cyborg says, "What tools would he want to take with him?" "Oh, how should I know?" He goes, "Anyway, he's not going to find any of these points by chance." And then we immediately know. I mean, we knew the whole time, obviously. It was pretty obvious. But then they just come right out and say, "Nope, he isn't. But luckily, you've just pointed them all out to me. The trickiest part isn't mastering the look of another person." Then he explains the whole trying to mimic the vocal cords and all of that of Flash so that way he can fool Cyborg. And he goes, "Vic, you know what he can do." And he goes, "Okay, I'll let the warden know to make sure McDonough is monitored." And he monologues, "Yeah, you go do that, Vic." Like, yeah, you go fuck off. You go fucking do it. Do your best. And then he immediately says, "I'll go look for some tools to take with me." He just does this funny runaway. It's just so fun. He's just like doing a funny, like, comedic, like almost like The Mask or something, runaway, like Freakazoid or something.
Like his fucking knee is like in the air.
Yes. It's full on like comedic jog away, like Jim Carrey stuff going on here. And then we go to, we cut to a shot of the Justice League, like a classic photo of them, and Plastic Man is a giant, in the form of a ginormous, like, eel fish. Like, it's just hilarious, but yeah.
That's also creepy, but yes.
Yes, you got Martian Manhunter, Raven, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Superman, Batman, Flash, Aquaman, Green Arrow, Black Canary, Green Lantern, and Hawkgirl. So just the classic team there. The original members and some of the members that were added on afterwards. So some great stuff there. He explains that, the time he spent with the Justice League were great times, but before I was a hero, I was a criminal. And we see him swipe some Green Lantern rings that are being held captive, along with other various items, and we see just the bottom half of Starro, which is interesting. That's the Justice League's first villain in the comics, is a ginormous starfish that can control people, mind control people. But he, like he says, he was a criminal, and he hasn't forgotten that either. We cut to a helicopter, and he explains to his buddy that's helping him out, if Superman finds you, you're going to be an accomplice in this, so you might want to lay low for a while because you're probably wanted for aiding me. No, I'm just kidding. Anchorman stuff. He goes into bullet form, goes down to the helicopter, he drops to the bottom of the sea, explaining, then great little flashback monologue of here, where he explains that his son has never really been too proud of him. He's kind of ashamed because he just missed so many things with his son, and he used the Justice League as an excuse for that. Like his son went from saying he doesn't even have a dad to saying, yeah, my dad's a superhero, so he's really proud of him, but he never showed up at his baseball games. Well, he says, you know what, I am going to show up this time. I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to do the best thing possible. I'm going to go above and beyond. I'm going to go ahead and break you out from the deepest prison in the sea, like just super dad here. He sneaks into the base, the trench, as we were shown off earlier. A guy sees him. He says, hey. And then he morphs into that guy's face, and he says, hey. And then he takes over that guy and takes his clothes. Then the radio comes on, or the walkie-talkie comes on, saying that all the prisoners are in the mess hall eating. And he goes, oh, all right. Well, he goes to the mess hall, and he goes, oh, wow. And he sees a bunch of them eating here in the mess hall. He goes up to old Kilowog here, and he explains to Kilowog, he whispers to him, and he says, you know what, I'm going to bust you guys out of here. I need you to create a distraction, essentially. So Kilowog, doing his best, and he says, gotcha, no big deal. I can take care of that. He goes up to Bane, looking all beefed up and great. I love that the straw is going through Bane's mask. Like, Bane has, it's almost kind of like a Dark Knight Rises type of mask, or like a face mask from, like, the MK Ninjas. It's something like that. And it has,
it's almost like Scorpion-esque, I would say.
Yeah. And it's got, slots where the mouth should be, and the straw is going through the slots. I just thought that was pretty funny. And then he goes up, he says, Bane. Bane says, what? I don't know how to properly insult your mother in your language, so... And then he just smashes him in the face with a headbutt. What a wonderful way to create effect. Good old Kilowog. And so they start battling. Bane, punches Plastic Man way up into the air, and you see several villains here. You see Cheetah there in the background. Solomon Grundy's in there. Some of the other Green Lanterns are in there. Two-Face's in there. Mr. Zaz is in there. So it's a lot of villains. Then we cut back to Plastic Man. He's sneaking on by the prison cells. He's going past Clayface's cell, Gorilla Grodd, Livewire, Killer Croc. All of a sudden a voice comes through, and a camera is watching him. It says, that's far enough. And he goes, what the hell? Camera keeps watching him, and he's like, you know what? Alright. He explains, the lock is impenetrable, and the guards don't have access to the keys. And we see a silhouette, so we're not really sure who's talking to him, but the prison, whatever the hell, the rooms basically the cells that they're being kept in they can't be broken into. Well, Plastic Man being Plastic Man shoves his arm into it and says, hey look, I found the key. And then he shows up to the camera, his middle finger in the shape of a key.
It's very David Spade with the middle finger in the pocket.
What I'm getting from this character, I get total vibes of Jim Carrey mixed with Bruce Campbell. Even
the plot line's very Robin Williams.
Basically, all the comedians, all the great comedians is what I get from him. But yeah, it's a shame that we haven't gotten a Plastic Man movie with Jim Carrey. That time is probably past, but I feel like there should have been a '90s movie where Jim Carrey played Plastic Man. It's right up his alley. Yeah. Anyways, we see the cells opening up of all the people that we just mentioned, him walking past, and he grabs his son, and he gives him a belt, and he says, here, take this. But Superman just got word of this, and he calls Wonder Woman, Hal, and Sinestro to follow him. They go down in the depths of the ocean, and Plastic Man comes back to Kilowog, and he says, look, hey, stop. And all of a sudden, gas starts coming through the vent, and he says, "Gas?" Well, he goes, "No, that's not gas, huh?" It's the warden, Metamorpho. I did not see that coming, so that's pretty cool to see him in here. I'm not like a big fan of him, but he is a cool character.
I didn't see it coming because I'm not terribly familiar with the character.
I only know of him from the animated series and the HeroScape game that I play. But yeah, he's in the animated series, Rex. He's kind of got like a tragic thing going on for him. But yeah, he can obviously metamorph into several different substances and things and powers and whatnot. So he's trying to talk to Metamorpho and talk his way out of this, but Rex says, "You know what, since you're here, it saves us the trouble of bringing you in." Superman pounds on the door, and they're waiting to be let in. So now they need to escape. So Plastic Man quickly throws the rings to the Green Lanterns. They all catch him in their fingers, and Sinestro sees this, and he yells no, and he's not going to let this happen. He's going to go in and blast them, but Hal tries to stop him. He says... Well, he doesn't really try and stop him. He just says, "Sinestro, don't!" and then reaches his hand out like, "No!" And we see a blast from Sinestro go right through Kilowog's chest, right into the glass of the dome itself. So...
I thought he was, I thought there was a good chance he was probably already dead. So the guy's like, "Oh, sweet, he's alive," and then, yeah.
Yeah. The ring drops out of his hand. He didn't get it on in time, and he dies. Damn it! So I like Kilowog. No more poozers. One last poozer for Kilowog. Damn it.
Oh god, yeah. I was really hoping we'd see him in year 5. I got my hopes pretty high up for that, but
yeah,
he went out a good way.
Oh yeah.
What's up?
I mean, yeah, he's obviously a pivotal role in all of this, causing the distraction and all that. But yeah, it kind of sucks that he went out in year 2, or whenever all the Green Lanterns got taken capture, and yeah, we haven't seen him since. But it was nice to see him one last time. So the other Green Lanterns do get their rings on, though, and they're trying to hold the glass together, because if that comes in, they all die. That's the weight of the ocean on top of them. So Plastic Man tells them, "No, you know what? I got this. We need this glass together." So he stretches himself out into ginormous mode and stretches himself up against the glass. He tells his son, "Hey, put the belt on." And we see Captain Cold, actually, as part of the audience there, looking on of the criminals, and he says, "Mirror Master's belt." That's all he says. He's just there so we understand what's happening. Mirror Master's belt.
They let him keep his shades. I think that's tight.
Yeah, and I love those shades. We need to have classic Captain Cold shades in Injustice 2. We can't just have metal head. We need classic 3D goggle-looking shades from that, yeah.
Let his opening dialogue be Mirror Master's belt. I'll get a fucking kick out of it.
That would be great. But yeah, so he is in pain. Now stretch out, Luke. So he's telling his son to stretch out. He stretches out to all of the criminals, all the prisoners, I should say, because they're not all criminals, but all the prisoners he stretches out to. Plenty of Green Lanterns, as well as the other ones that are in the mess hall, and that were let out of their cells. And poor Kilowog shown laying dead there. And he starts pulling them all in. And Plastic Man's trying to hold it together. He's struggling. His son gets them all through, and as Metamorpho watches on, and Superman and the gang watch on as well. And yeah, he gets everyone else through, and he tells... And I'll go ahead and read this bit, because it's pretty good here. He goes, "Dad, come on." And he goes, I can't move, Luke." Of course he can. But you know what I think? I think you like drama. I think some screwed up part of you would actually find it easier to sacrifice yourself here rather than escape and hang out with me. Plastic Man says, "That's actually pretty insightful." He grabs his hand, gives him a smile, and then his son says, "Come on, Dad, let's get out of here." And then he goes through. I mean, that was a good call. I mean, it's like calling his bluff. He was just like trying to be over dramatic.
Avoid responsibility one last time.
Exactly. go down with the ship, so to speak, rather than like it's easier for him to die tragically than it is to own up to that and be a good father. I mean, he's being a good father, but you know what I mean. So, and then they have one final great moment here to end off the thing, and I'll read this as well because it's pretty solid stuff here to cap it all off. Plastic Man's son, Luke says, "So that's it." And there, I should point out, they are in the mirror dimension here. So there's a ton of mirrors on different levels, like all on like mirror platforms with tons of the criminals and the prisoners all standing. And he goes, "So that's it? We let all these villains escape through the mirrors and back into the world, and Superman just keeps on being a tyrant?" And Plastic Man says, "Yeah." Or he goes, "Yeah, that doesn't sound..." And we see all the criminals looking on. He goes, I'm not really one for speeches. I know some of you are like I was, criminals because it's what you know. But also, I know some of you are truly, like, nightmarishly evil. I'm trying not to ignore my responsibilities, and it would be pretty irresponsible of me to just let you go and continue being asses or bitches or whatever. I don't know, shits.
Dicks.
Dicks, there you go. Dicks, that's a good one. He says, "My son was locked up for standing up to Superman, and well, seeing as we helped you escape and stopped you from imploding, I'd really appreciate it if you focus most of your evil on Superman. Just, do what you can to bring him down and generally make his life a living hell." We cut to Killer Croc. Sure. Hey, thanks, Killer Croc. Happy?
Singles him out completely.
He goes, "Happy?" And his son says, "I guess." And then Plastic Man says, "Look," and they're walking through the portal right now. "Look, if you really want, I guess we could try to stand up to Superman." The son says, "Or, we could just hide until more qualified people bring him down." That's my boy.
Nice.
Oh my god. So
you mentioned
good.
Jim Carrey, but there's also, I feel like Paul Rudd can now. If Paul Rudd was Ant-Man and Plastic Man, it would be unbelievable. That would be monumental to me.
Okay, so we recapped it. Wow, is this fantastic! This
is
the
best annual.
This goes up into one of my favorite issues that they've done. This was fantastic. Like, you could just tell that this writer, obviously having time off and time away from the material and seeing where it went, this is like his love letter. Like, he's just like, this is how you do it. This is how it's done. He had fun. He made Plastic Man such a fun character. I want to see more of Plastic Man. Unfortunately, this is probably a one-off, as the annuals usually are. But holy hell, like, DLC Injustice 2. Like, I mean, he's just so fun. He's just... Oh, this was good. This was fantastic. I loved, like you said, there was not a bad panel here. There was no filler. Everything was up. Every panel was there for a purpose, served its purpose, and so many great character moments here that the writer, what we praised beforehand, just fantastic stuff.
Good drama too. I really liked when he does. There's a really good shift where they're doing the funny thing with Sinestro, and that was really hilarious. And then when Superman says, "I'm not changing my mind," immediately shifts to, "What the hell is wrong with you?" And it completely goes serious. And it felt really impactful. I thought that was good. The Flash Plastic Man stuff was absolutely horrifying.
Yeah, I know. That would be awful.
Yeah, even though I love this issue, I would say I like Plastic Man. I'm a fan of the character. I hope I never see him in Injustice.
Yeah, I know. You're not a fan of all the stretchy and the creepiness. Yeah.
Flash was wrapped in flabs of flesh. It just was so hard to look at.
Oh my god, but yeah, this was fantastic.
Good Return of the Lanterns as well. That was also very unexpected and very refreshing.
Yes. It'll be nice to see them again, hopefully in year 5. And it's nice to know that all these prisoners are back in the fold, so to speak. I mean, I don't expect them to make up year 5 or anything crazy like that, but it's nice to know that they're not just in the trench for the rest of eternity in this world, in this universe. That would suck. Like,
Tell me if you're seeing the same thing. You know the panel after the mess hall when all hell's breaking loose with the Batman rogues?
Yeah, let me go right back up here.
It looks... I'm not sure if I'm looking at this right, but it looks like Grundy is about to body slam the fucking Clock King. Tell me if that's what you're seeing, too.
Yeah. Is that the Clock King? I can't tell. There's a
There's
couple
a
guys.
lot of evil people with glasses.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. But yeah, yeah, he's gonna like just whack him across the ground by his foot.
But yeah, great stuff. Very big fan.
Yeah, this was tremendous. The one thing I came out of this thinking, other than just loving this issue, was I am so excited for the Injustice 2 comics. If this is like a return to form, like I can't wait for this type of storytelling again and characterization, because it was fantastic. That's what made year 1 and year 2 so great, and to see this again is like, this is what we're missing. Like year 4 was fine, but this is, I miss this. So,
and with new ingredients too, new characters, a lot of characters we weren't expecting to see. So, oh god, he's gonna do Blue Beetle so well. Blue Beetle's gonna shine so much in the new comics, I think. But
yeah, they do comedy well. I mean, obviously we knew that with Harley, but yeah, Plastic Man was just full on jokester mode here, and it was perfect. It was a great character. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, definitely one of the best comics, or one of the best issues so far in the series, and not even just in the series. It was just a fantastic comic that stands out on its own as a great comic. So that does it for year 4 in total, and as well as the annual here. And now it's on to year 5. So we hit like a really high note. It was almost bad that we read this issue right before year 5, but man, we hit this incredible high note. Just kind of be like, hey, this is what it could be. And now we're going to year 5, so we'll see. Hopefully it's not as bad as people are making it out to be. Hopefully it's another year 4 where it's like, that was actually okay. It was fine. But we'll find out tomorrow with issue 1. And you guys, thank you for tuning in. Have a good one. Take care. Adios.
Stay safe, everybody.
Indeed.